Hey AfterBuzzers, we are about to talk about the series premiere of Sun Records on CMT, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You ain't nothing but a hound.
Well, I thought it was appropriate to put on some Elvis Presley tonight in lieu of the amazing premiere of Sun Records. I don't know about you guys, but I am loving it so far. I'm your host, Ally Nasta, and I will be having two other hosts join me. However, they weren't able to make it tonight, so it's just going to be me. And those hosts will be Abigail Frere and Tamara Brown. They will be joining the rest of the season. But we just wanted to kick it off with you guys and chat about the characters that have been introduced to us. Well, they're not really characters, but they're actually real artists that we're seeing a little bit of background of their history and kind of how they all got started. I don't know about you, but this kind of opened up my eyes to a little bit of history that I didn't necessarily know so far. I feel like I'm already learning so much. We get introduced to Sam Phillips, who is clearly, he's the businessman and the music producer and, owner of Sun Records behind all of this amazing talent that was brought to everybody in like the 40s and 50s. And I found it really interesting because as much as I do love this kind of music, I obviously was a fan of Johnny Cash after I watched Walk the Line, I'm not gonna lie. But that's what these movies and these TV shows are great, because it helps us kind of get introduced back to this amazing music that we didn't necessarily get to know about in at least my generation. It brings back this amazing music and talent. So basically, yes, Sam Phillips introduced into the story, and he is starting up the record label and just kind of starts from scratch. And we see Marianne Kesker, I'm not really sure how you say that one. I'm sure you guys can correct me on that, who is his assistant, that when he comes straight into the record studio, they are just trying to fix it all up and make sure it gets all put together. And his wife, who we also get introduced to, Becky Phillips, they want to get it all going, and the three-man band, they work to get it all ready in time for their first recording session. It's really interesting to see Marianne's I guess vibe you can see with Sam, because I kind of had a sense that they had a connection from the get-go. And obviously, if you are aware of this history before you watch the show, you would already know that they kind of had a fling. Or maybe this isn't actually known history. Maybe this is something that's for the script, which I think is going to be, I'm kind of jumping back and forth here, but I think this is going to be interesting to kind of know what was actually history and things that actually went down, because clearly there's things that we don't know about. But I did see that connection straight off the bat through Marianne and Sam, and then before the episode's up, they're already getting together, which I already felt really bad for Becky Phillips, because in previews and everything, you kind of see how she starts to go down this slippery slope with Sam, and as the success grows. Also, one of the main characters, obviously, is Elvis Presley, and it's really, really great to see him as a younger character kind of getting the start, as he's this huge, amazing everything, artist, everything. We all know Elvis Presley. He's a household name. So it's really interesting. I haven't personally watched any Elvis documentaries, which I think I'm going to now. And it's just kind of great to see him before he got started. I find that really interesting. And I think that's why I was so drawn to the show, is to be able to see everybody and how they got their start and all the struggles that they had to endure before they got to where they were. And another reason I was drawn to this is because I did watch movies like Walk the Line, and I thought it was really interesting to see Johnny Cash and how he paved his way for himself, and just kind of making this genre of music so powerful and so just, it's one of those things that when you listen to it, you just want to keep listening over and over again. At least personally, that's how I am, and I'm assuming you guys as fans are probably the same way. Obviously, Elvis's love interest, Trixie Dean, is his high school love, and we see a little bit of struggle because she's Elvis puts her at a struggle with her parents, because what they raised her to be, Elvis is kind of contradicting that, and her parents don't want her to see him anymore. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out this season. Going into other artists and singers, we've got Johnny Cash, played by Kevin Fontaine. Oh, obviously, Elvis Presley is played by Drake Milligan. And Sam Phillips is played by Chad Michael Murray, who I think is an amazing actor, and I think he's done a great job with just even capturing the twang and the voice and the diction that Sam Phillips may have used. I find it very believable, and I was a One Tree Hill fan, so I don't even see that character, which is great, and that's how he's totally captivated the Sam Phillips. Everything. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but I think he's totally captivated that character. But sorry, going back to Johnny Cash, who's played by Kevin Fontaine. From watching previous movies on Johnny Cash and knowing how his music goes, we haven't been truly introduced to his entire character yet. We just know that he's going to war. So far in the show, we haven't gotten to see too much, but we will eventually, as we see that. We'll see that later in the season. Colonel Tom Parker, who is going to be the talent manager of this series, which is crazy because he started out at county fairs, just doing shows with chickens. So I find that really great that Eddie Arnold, the country music singer, who we also saw, is just kind of sweeps him off and says, all right, let's do this. You can be my talent manager. And then it kind of grows from there. And I feel like there was so much that happened this episode with just introducing characters, so I thought it was really interesting for me personally to kind of go back and research a little bit about them to kind of know. I'm trying to figure out what might be real, if there's anything scripted, and so far, obviously, all of the characters are real, and everything is not, it's all right in history. But moving on, we have Dewey Phillips, who's the radio DJ that kind of lights the fire by Sam. He came into the studio and didn't know he was live, but basically told people to go to his studio so he could record them. And I thought it was really interesting because they mentioned B.B. King, and at the time they were just like, oh, B.B. King, which is insane if that's someone who he's about to record, considering who he is and who we know him to be today. Which, again, goes back to how exciting it is to kind of see all of these amazing stars and musicians grow from just the beginning and kind of all be intertwined into this same story. Because we all see them as standalone characters and standalone people in real life, and it's very cool to see how they all flowed together, and if they did either bump into each other here and there, which I'm assuming they did. And then we also, I guess that kind of wraps up the layout of all the characters that we've been introduced so far, and we're going to see a bunch more this season. But the director, Roland Joffe, I was watching a little bit of a clip that they had on the CMT website, and it was just saying how he falls in love with the characters, and he just wants to make sure that he is like putting out a great example of them in the show. And so far, I feel like each of these actors have totally captivated these people and these figures that we know them to be, of huge musicians. And so far, I mean, I'm convinced by every single one of them. I don't know about you guys, but I think they're doing a great job so far. So I just am really excited to see where this season takes us. There's going to be so many entertaining parts that flow into the story, not just all seriousness and business. But I personally am excited to kind of see more of Elvis Presley and how that kind of all flows in together. And I am a huge fan of his music, so I haven't necessarily done all I haven't read back on his history too much, and so I think this show is just going to captivate that all and so perfectly, and I'm already hooked and I'm already loving it. So CMT, great job on that one. And I'm a huge fan of Nashville as well, so I find it really interesting to see behind the scenes of musicians and how they get going and kind of their creative process, and not even the creative process but the business process. It's so interesting to see how all these factors kind of play together, and that's kind of how the show is. You're seeing how Sam Phillips he's like the backbone of the like rock and roll, and I had read some stuff about how, I mean, he's the founder of so many amazing people, and it's crazy that this one guy has kind of brought us the household names that we know today. So this season is going to be great. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. I know this was kind of a small little recap of the first episode, but I'm hoping next week when we get Abigail and Tamara to join us, it'll be a little bit longer. But thank you guys so much. Make sure that you tune in every week. It's going to be obviously this time every Thursday at 10 p.m. So make sure you tune in. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Tell us where to find you on Twitter.
And you can find me on Twitter at Ally Nasta and on Instagram at AllieGirl. Thanks, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.